All right, what's going on YouTube? So let's go ahead and get into the best setups. We have 5 pairs that I will be looking to potentially trade. CADJPY is the same pair from last week, but I still like it for sells. As you see, weekly is bearish, and we also have this area of interest here that price retested multiple times, right? And if we jump down to the daily, we see that the daily is still bearish as well. Same area of interest, multiple touches of support and resistance. So all I'm going to be looking for is for price to potentially give us entry signal to then look for it to head to the downside. As always, you don't have to trade this strategy. Whatever strategy you trade, make sure you follow your own analysis, right? I always say it. EURJPY, let's go ahead and jump into that one. So this one we had set for sells last week, but price ended up going bullish on the daily, right? So now we just switched our bias to buys. Weekly is still bearish if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, weekly still bearish, right? Daily's now bullish. And then the 4-hour is also bullish. So let me show you the higher highs and the higher lows. This is the higher high. This is the higher low on the 4-hour. Not only that, we have the EMA underpriced, potentially pushing it up. Go back to the daily. And as I mentioned, price closed above. So this is the higher high and this is the higher low. And we also have daily EMA underpriced to potentially push it back up. So I would say EURJPY is probably the top pair. I just moved the area of interest from last week. You see on the daily we have 1 touch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Let me see if it's similar to the weekly or if we have something on the weekly. Yeah, I guess you could count the weekly as well, right? 1 touch, 2, 3, 4. So valid weekly area of interest, valid daily area of interest, daily and 4-hour are in sync. So all I'm going to be looking for is for price to come into the area of interest. And then if it closes in it, then I'll be looking for entries. Next one is EURCAD. And if you've seen the other videos, you know I always go for 1 to 2.5 or 1 to 3. So just keep that in mind. You can set your targets to wherever you want. If you want to mark it up with structure, then you can do that as well. EURCAD, this one I have 2 places that I think price could return to. This first place, actually, before we even get into that, let's go to the weekly. Weekly is bearish still. This is how we look. Lower high, lower low, right? Jump down to the daily. The daily has now gone bullish. So this is the higher high, and this is the higher low. Daily's bullish. 4-hour is bullish as well. I'm gonna do the same thing. This is the higher high, and you can put your higher low here, or if you want to put it down here, you can do that as well. It's up to you. Everybody might view the market differently, might consider different zones or different area structure. So again, subjective, is all up to you. But if we look at the area of interest, we see on the daily, there's this first area, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Valid area of interest. Then we have another one lower, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, me personally, I think price will come back to retest this area. But since this first one is a valid area of interest, we can also see price retest this one as well, right? It's the market. Anything can happen. All we got to do is react to what actually happens. So keep that in mind. We also have daily EMA under price, which is good. And the only thing that I would take note of is that if the 4-hour or if price decides to retest this zone, if the 4-hour closes under, then we would then be bearish, which would invalidate the trade, right? So if your higher high is up here and your higher low is down here, price breaks under here and closes, we would be bearish in my opinion. So I probably wouldn't end up taking a trade. Well, not probably. I wouldn't end up taking a trade because we don't have 2 time frames in sync. So just keep that in mind. And as I said before, just react to what the market does. Next one is EURGBP. I noticed I'm buying a lot of euro pairs, well, potentially buying a lot of euro pairs this week, which is perfectly fine. So on EURGBP, the weekly is bullish, right? This is the higher high. This is the higher low. So weekly went bullish. No area of interest on the weekly, but if we jump down to the daily, we see that there is an area of interest that has been touched multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I would still consider this bullish. I would consider that the higher high, and my higher low will either be here or you could put it down here if you want. So I'm still considering this bullish. Even though this is a big daily candle, I feel like it didn't do too much for, like, it didn't make it look more like this, right? Price just ended up doing something like this in the overall grand scheme of things. So this I would consider structure. Even if it was more like this, right, I would still consider structure because it still looks like a step. This one looks like just little pause and then price push back up. So I'm still considering the daily bullish. Weekly's bullish, so we have 2 time frames in sync. We have the EMA under price as well, which could potentially push it up. And we have this first zone and the second zone. I don't think it'll come back to this second zone, but anything can happen. So just be prepared for that if you don't get an entry on the first one, or if price doesn't close in the first one. So that's EURGBP. Again, all TPs are 1 to 2.5, 1 to 3, or if you want to mark up structure, then you could do that as well. Stop loss just depends on market structure and where we get the entry at. And I think this is the last one. Yeah. Last one is EURNZD. Now I don't have too much confidence in this one. The weekly is bullish. No area of interest on the weekly. Daily is bullish as well. Higher high, higher low. On here we do have a valid area of interest. We have 1 touch, 2, 3, 4, 5. So valid area of interest on the daily. So all I'll be looking for is for price to come back into the zone, close in it, and then potentially give us an entry to then continue to buy back up. Right. Okay, now I know the markets have been kind of crazy lately. I mean, it's only like the 3rd week, 4th week of January, so I'm sure things will smooth out. But if you're having trouble trading, as majority of people are, I feel like I would just say try to stick to the best setups, right? The ones that are A+, if you want to call it that. For me, the A+ setups would be EURJPY and CADJPY, in all honesty. So I really like this pair. I still think it could go down, and I think EURJPY could end up buying up. Now, of course, they're both JPY pairs. One's CAD and one's Euro. I'm looking to sell one and I'm looking to buy one. If EURJPY buys up, then that means the Japanese yen is weaker, which could potentially cause CADJPY to buy up, and vice versa. If CADJPY sells, that means that the Japanese yen is stronger and could cause Euro to sell. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at these trades. We're not fortune tellers. We can't see what's going to happen in the future, but just keep that in mind as you're analyzing the pairs, as you're looking for trades. I would suggest paying attention to news, because news has been pushing the market around, especially in the first couple weeks. So just keep that on your radar. But those are the pairs for this upcoming week. I hope you guys enjoy. Really appreciate all the love and support on the videos. Be sure to check out all the links down in the description, and let's go ahead and have a successful week. I'll catch y'all.